This pre-meeting briefing of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch Independent School District Board of Trustees to order at 6:04 p.m. on April 5th, 2018. Excuse me. The purpose of this pre-meeting briefing is to conduct a briefing session with administrative staff regarding the posted agenda for the regular board meeting scheduled for 7 p.m. on April the 5th, 2018. For the record, all board members are present with the exception of Ms. Klein, who's running late, and Mr. Fleming. Board members, do you have any questions regarding the consent agenda items?
I do.
Ms. Robaczyk.
Item 6M, as in Mary, the purchase of transportation, fuel and products. It says fuel service and products. Is products defined as the fuel? Is this our total fuel cost for the year?
I'll let Ms. Tillman answer that for you.
Yes, this is our estimate based upon what we've been charged through Dallas County Schools. So
Okay. Okay.
Ms. Robaczyk.
Okay. 6N, as in Nancy, on the copiers. The annual cost of $398,000 and change for the 5-year lease agreement, and I caught that was about $100,000 less than what we're currently paying. I couldn't tell, is that price set for every one of the 5 years, or is there an option for them in the 5-year lease agreement to increase that price? For the 4 or 5 years? Okay, thanks.
Ms. Shackman.
Mr. Robaczyk and I were on the same wavelength. I had both of those marked. I don't mean to ask the second question now. I just wanted to make a comment and make sure to clarify. So if folks are reading the consent agenda or looking at that fuel cost is not something we'd been covering on our own. That was a part of our Dallas County Schools, and it's something that we've now picked up. And so that's one of those new things with transportation out there. Okay, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Robaczyk.
6T, is in Tara. The internet filtering, it says that's the access, or preventing the access of harmful material to minors. Is that filtering applied when students log into their district account, or is it to all district computers across the board?
Thank you. I'm going to ask Ms. Webb to respond to that.
We have filtering for students that is in particular just for them. It filters to a greater level than to the adults. We also do have some filtering on adults.
Okay.
And if we did take their student devices home, like the points that they do, it will be filtered at home as well.
Okay. And is that based on content or words, or how does that work?
A little bit of both.
Okay. Great.
Ms. Valenzuela.
I have a question on 6S. So quality sound, I assume that's for alarms?
the fire protection, this is actually for the inspection and repairs of the systems we have in place. It's not actually to purchase anything new, but it's requirements that we have to have those inspected.
Okay.
So that's what the service is for.
This also covers our PA system, too, what we can transfer with our fire system.
Okay. Other questions, Ms. Shackman?
It's kind of here and kind of not. The security systems were there, and it caused me to reflect and think, and I would like to suggest that administration take a look. I would really encourage you to take almost a wish list look. What security systems, procedures, costs might we incur? Not saying that we should, but for example, we have some school buildings that don't have entry vestibules and some other things. If you had no worry about cost, money, or anything, what would you want to bring to us? I think it would be helpful for us to, as a board, then sit down and dialogue with staff and kind of see, are there things we can do and should do, and some pieces we could start adding, so.
And funny you mention that. part of our facilities planning committee and looking at that, and so we have citizens going to our campus, and David, you may want to say a little bit more to that about it, but it is a comprehensive
Yeah.
security review.
Yeah.
That's a great question, Mr. Shackman. So we are actually we have on the street right now a comprehensive assessment for our security and safety procedures, operations, and facilities. And so the assessment's going to be comprehensive in this way. It's going to look at the three-pronged pieces that we have identified as a district as our priority. So it's going to look at facilities, which you mentioned, which include safety vestibules, door locks, materials and those things. And then it'll look at the procedures that follow all that. It'll look at access control, it'll look at surveillance, and then it'll look at our staffing for our security team. And then it'll come back with a comprehensive best practice overview, and that'll be given to us, and then we will feed that to our Citizens Advisory Committee, and that'll be part of their work. And so we're going to use that to establish our priority list that we'll move forward with. So.
Yes, ma'am?
Item 6D, the engineering in elementary. I was wondering if we could, if nobody objects, if we could pull that from the consent agenda and have a little more discussion or a presentation, mainly for, our parents and how those programs are going to be implemented and the work and, a couple of specific questions about that program.
Absolutely.
You want to pull it, or you want us to pull it?
I'll pull.
And along that vein, would you mind discussing Title II funds, what they're for and how they're being used in this program?
Any other questions, comments, board members?
Done.
Done? Okay, Dr. Burns, any reports by administration?
Yes, we have a few items. I just want to remind the board that your calendars are going to get even busier in the spring with the senior activities. So I think all of those have been identified for you and listed and also sent with notices. But if there's anything you're unsure about, be sure to let us know. But we realize there's too many probably for all board members to attend. But as you can, I know the campuses appreciate your attendance there. So I'm not going to say a whole lot about state testing next week, but it does start next week, or more state testing next week, I should say. Dr. Warnock may be mentioning that in her report. So we'll go to Dr. Warnock from that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Burns. Yes, state testing, the STAR state testing begins next week. Our state testing actually started earlier in February. Well, it continues all year. We had some in December. We had TELPAS beginning in February, and then our STAR testing begins this next week. We received word from the Department of Education that the Texas state plan for implementation of ESSA has been accepted, and we're going to include a copy of that plan for you in next week's Monday memo along with a summary. It's over 80 pages, so we will focus on the highlights for you. We also know that Texas has been under investigation from the OCR for special ed compliance and some concerns there, and we've been given a copy of a corrective action plan, and districts are giving feedback. We have participated in those feedback sessions. Ms. Wells has done that, and we'll also be including a copy of that draft corrective action plan for you. An update on our Stellar programs. We have over 1,000 applicants so far, and those are continuing to come in. And we know that our largest period for open enrollment is August, so we're really excited about the energy that's growing around our Stellar programming. And today, we just had a meeting to launch an early literacy initiative called Read, Talk, Play, and we had members from the community, hospital authority, MetroCrest Services, retired teachers, city library, city officials, and then our staff to think about how we expand a Birth to 5 literacy initiative in the district. So we're excited about that work launching. So those are a few things. We'll be putting notes about that, but just so you have a preview.
Okay. Ms. Tillman?
The district is required to post certain information related to the election in the paper, so I wanted you all to have that information. So in front of you, you have a copy of the notice of the school district trustee general election. It won't look exactly like this when it goes in the paper, but will have all this information in it. So I wanted to be sure you were aware that that will be coming out on April 11th. Also, you have a copy of the current early voting locations. Those will not be in the paper, but they will be posted on our website and on our front door and anywhere else that we can get these posted. So we wanted to share that information with you. Transportation services, wanted to give you a quick update on that. To date, we now have all of our support staff in place. We had to hire approximately 20 people, from our director to supervisor, routing specialists, our safety trainers, our dispatchers, secretarial staff, our foreman for our maintenance of our buses, along with technicians. So we're very happy with the team we've built. We built such a great team that we have many districts upset with us because we have secured some of the folks that they wanted. I think that speaks to the leadership of Mr. Hanna, who's going to be our director, because everyone is really excited to come on board his team, so we're very happy about that. Today, we actually offered 64 bus drivers letters of intent. So we are moving very rapidly to get our bus drivers in place now. We're going to offer 20 more letters tomorrow. These letters just give them confirmation that we're going to offer them employment contingent upon them passing the final test required to be a driver. Next week, we are going to then move to our monitors, which is our last group of employees we need to secure for bus services. We hope to get all of those finished by the end of next week. And so we feel confident that we are on pace to be ready to provide transportation services on the first day of school. Another update with our TIFs. This evening at the Irving City Council, they will be taking action on the amendment that you all approved related to our Irving TIF funds. We attended their work session yesterday, and their council was very supportive of the amendment that you all had approved and are very happy that we're moving forward with those projects. So Mr. Finley will be leaving here very shortly so that we have a representative at that meeting in the event that they do have any questions. So we look forward to the passage of that amendment so that we can move forward with those projects. And finally, Mr. Finley is going to give you a construction report just on 2 of the agenda items. Since he will not be here, he's going to provide you an overview of those 2 items.
Thank you, Ms. Tillman. Tonight, we have 2 items on the agenda, construction-related. We'll be asking the board to consider. Both of them are construction manager at risk recommendations, and both of them are at our at 2 Stellar elementary schools. The first one we'll be looking at is for the addition at Strickland Intermediate, which will support our effort of consolidation of the McLaughlin-Strickland campus. So the construction manager at risk we are recommending is Kibler Construction, and I just want to remind the board that this delivery method is what we call it. It's really how we procure construction in the district, is what the board has approved actually in 2015. And the construction manager at risk has a lot of benefits for districts. One, it allows the contractor to be on board very early in the process, so they can actually support and with cost estimating and actually design. And then it involves the district on the tail end of the project, so we can support the bidding, and it's a very transparent way that we can negotiate and have some conversation and some input into the subcontracting piece. So it actually works for the district because we get the contractor on the front end and we get the back end, and so it's a really great method. So both of these are construction manager at risk. So we have the Strickland job, and then we have the Landry job also, which we'll be recommending Balfour Beatty. We talked a little bit about this. These 2 jobs, incidentally, are very different. The Strickland job is really clean, and by clean I mean it's a addition to the building that really doesn't affect the interior of the building. As you all know, Strickland is one of our finer buildings, and so all the construction will be on the outside. Landry, on the other hand, is actually much more complicated. It does include an addition of, I think, 6 classrooms and a new gymnasium on the outside of the building, but it also includes a very intensive interior renovation. So both recommendations for the CMAR reflect those kind of pieces of the project. And so I wanted to give you a quick update on that, and I would sure answer any questions you may have.
I will will add on the Landry item right now, we do have language in there that it is, the amount of the construction is contingent upon the approval of the TIF amendment, because we have that project broken out into 2 phases. The first phase would take us up to the amount that's already in the amendment, which would be the addition in the gymnasium, and then the second phase is the complete renovation of the building. So if they've approved it by the time we get to this item, then we won't need the contingency language. But in the event that they have not made it to the item, we need to just be sure that, that we make that motion that it is subject to the TIF amendment in terms of the total construction price. The fee would just be adjusted down to whatever amount we finalized as the project.
Ms. Scribner, Ms. Smith, nothing else for the board? They've gotten all their materials they need for looking at the summer leadership, et cetera. We'll keep you informed of that as it comes out. We don't have a schedule yet for you, obviously, on things to attend, but remember, they do like for you to pick what you're going to attend, so when you get that, you're looking at it. So. Okay. Mr. Matthews, that concludes administration reports.
Thank you. Did you have something you needed to say?
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
On the 1,000 applicants on the Stellar, do y'all have that broken down to, are those students already within our district, or do we have numbers and people coming in, transferring into CFB?
We're estimating, I don't have the exact number right here, we can get it, but yeah, we have it broken down, who's leaving where, going where, and we have, I would say we're nearing 500, between 500 and 600 that are either coming from other ISDs, from charter schools or private schools
Okay.
that are new enrollees in the district.
Great, okay, thanks.
And then we also have our pay-for pre-K numbers are already up significantly over what we had for enrollment this year. And we're continuing to see families enroll in our pay-for pre-K programming as well.
Thank you.
That's good news, yes. Any other questions, comments, board members? Hearing none, seeing none, we have reached the end of our agenda, and this meeting is adjourned at 6:21. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I call this regular meeting of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch Independent School District Board of Trustees to order at 7:03 p.m. on April the 5th, 2018. Board members, district staff members, and members of the audience, you are free to join me in standing as BJ and Sarah Gelatazada provide a welcome message, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Randy Shackman, and the pledge to the Texas flag led by Guillermo Ramos.
Good evening, everybody. I'm from the Baha'i community of Carrollton, and I'm going to say a Baha'i prayer for unity. O thou kind Lord, thou hast created all humanity from the same stock. Thou hast decreed that all shall belong to the same household. In thy holy presence they are all thy servants, and all mankind are sheltered beneath thy tabernacle. All have gathered together at thy table of bounty. All are illumined through the light of thy providence. O God, thou art kind to all, thou hast provided for all, dost shelter all, conferrest life upon all. Thou hast endowed each and all with talents and faculties, and all are submerged in the ocean of thy mercy. O thou kind Lord, unite all. Let the religions agree and make the nations one, so that they may see each other as one family and the whole earth as one home. May they all live together in perfect harmony. O God, raise aloft the banner of the oneness of mankind. O God, establish the most great peace. Cement thou, O God, the hearts together. O thou kind Father God, gladden our hearts through the fragrance of thy love. Brighten our eyes through the light of thy guidance. Delight our ears with the melody of thy word, and shelter us all in the stronghold of thy providence. Thou art the mighty and powerful, thou art the forgiving, and thou art the one who overlooketh the shortcomings of all mankind. Amen. Thank you. I just wanted to briefly say we've been in the Carrollton area for about over 30 years, and we had 3 kids go through the Carrollton-Farmers branch schools. We had twins that graduated from Creekview. They happened to be salutatorian and valedictorian. So we're very proud of them. They've gone on to become doctors. And we want to thank the school district for helping them to become the people they are today. Not only very successful academically, but they have hearts that are servants. They wanted to go into medicine to serve others. And I think they also, they learned it from our faith, but also through all of the wonderful teachers they had in the Carrollton-Farmers Branch School District. And we're very, very grateful to the school district for educating our children. And we tell everyone how much we love the Carrollton-Farmers Branch schools.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. As a side note to Sarah and BJ's comments, I was an assistant principal at Creekview when those twins went through there. And I believe one went to Stanford and one went to Yale. I could be wrong, but they were valedictorian and salutatorian, and I asked them, I said, was that a problem with the, salutatorian being, and the other one being the valedictorian? And the answer was, if it'd been the other way around, if the salutatorian had been the valedictorian and vice versa, it would have been a problem. But it wasn't. So, thank y'all very much for being here. And tell the boys I said, hey. As a district, we dedicate all our efforts and resources to our goal of high achievement for each student. The board uses this goal to guide all deliberations, decisions, and actions. You will get to see all deliberations, decisions, and actions of the board in open session, with the exception of some items which may be discussed in a closed session as stipulated in the Texas Government Code, Section 551, commonly known as the Open Meetings Law. These items typically deal with personnel matters, consultation with our attorneys, and real estate. For the record, all board members are present with the exception of Mr. Fleming. We constitute a quorum and may conduct business on behalf of the district. As required by Board Policy BBD Local, let the minutes reflect that all board members have exceeded, and I stress that word, exceeded, the number of continuing education training hours required for the current reporting period. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we're moving on to the next agenda item, I would like to remind you that the board encourages comments from citizens of the district and from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so during agenda item number 5, audience for guests. Please submit your request to do so on one of the forms provided on the table outside the door. You may place a completed form on the table, or you may present it to Administrative Assistant Ms. Sharon Scribner right over there. And when the board addresses agenda item number 5, audience for guests, you will be invited to the podium to speak to the board. We will now proceed with agenda item number 2, student achievement presentation, one of my favorite parts. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Well, welcome. If this is your first board meeting, welcome back. If this is a board meeting, your second or multiple board meetings. And if you've been here, you know that we, as a board several years ago, said that the first thing on the agenda should be the main thing on the agenda, and that's student achievement. So we begin each meeting with the main thing, and that's talking about student achievement. And tonight, we have a great presentation, but I'm going to let Dr. Warnock tell you a little bit more about our student achievement presentation tonight. Dr. Warnock.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. This year, each month, we look to our district plan, our Vision 2020, that gives us guidance, and we highlight an area of performance in the district that we are trying to continue to grow and improve. and you are in for a treat tonight as we celebrate the amazing fine arts programming in CFB. We believe that our public schools have many more choices and options available than any other provider can offer, and we encourage our families to choose public and choose CFB, and the fine arts are just another reason why we choose public schools. It's my pleasure to introduce our Director of Fine Arts, Mr. Brett Farr, to bring our presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, and members of the board. It is my distinct privilege to stand before you representing the fine arts. It would be impossible for me to thank everyone who has positively impacted our program this year, but I would like to take a moment and thank my team. First, I'd like to thank Dawn Valentine, who's hiding over here behind this wall. She's our coordinator of fine arts. As you know, our new stellar signature programs, including the Imagine Fine Arts Academies, have added 4 elementary theater teachers and 4 elementary dance teachers to our faculty. And Dawn's expertise in these areas has been invaluable. In addition to Dawn, I'd like to recognize Pam Appalucci. Where are you at, Pam? There's Pam. Pam is our fine arts secretary. She is the engine that keeps our department running, and I've yet to find a task that she cannot master. I would also like to recognize Kathy Jackson. Kathy, would you stand? Kathy is our fine arts clerk, and she's the first person you will encounter if you call or come by our office. All 3 of these ladies play a crucial role in facilitating our programs as they work hand in hand with our teachers. Finally, I'd like to take a second and recognize all of our faculty members, and particularly those who are here this evening. Their talent and hard work is the foundation for the successes that we have enjoyed in our department. As you know, this time of the year, there are always plays, concerts, contests. In fact, many of these people came today from a contest. So we appreciate these teachers for giving up their time to be here this evening to support our presentation. If you are a fine arts teacher in our district, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. The impact of fine arts in our world is unmistakable. From art galleries to concert halls, our world is surrounded with creativity and ingenuity. Art engages us in public and private venues and is visible on billboards and media of every kind. Every day we hear music and watch plays and movies filled with artistic demonstrations that shape our perspectives and inform our lives. The fine arts not only inspire our community, they also help to develop the qualities that create some of the most well-rounded citizens. It is here where the fine arts and CFB gladly contribute in shaping the leaders of tomorrow. We consider it our mission to help each student develop their talents, and we consider it a privilege to open the door to learning for our students. Through a challenging curriculum and with capable and talented teachers, our students are given the support to recognize and embrace the potential that they find within themselves. With the support of teachers, administrators, family, and friends, our mission does not end here. It is only the beginning, as each of our students see their knowledge and talent take shape, and they see their future take flight. In CFB, we are proud to offer a comprehensive course of study in secondary band, choir, orchestra, theater, art, speech, and debate. We also offer high school dance, drill team, and music theory, as well as elementary music and art. And with the addition of our elementary fine arts academies, we will now be offering elementary theater and dance. We have been listed as a best community for music education by the National Association of Music Merchants for 10 years, and we are currently serving every elementary school aged child in our district, as well as more than 70% of all secondary students. We have had 9 all-state musicians this year, 4 ensembles performing at state and national conventions, as well as numerous students who have advanced to state in PTA reflections, UIL solo and ensemble, dance, and art competitions. Our district has the capacity to offer a full range of fine arts programs that simply cannot be matched in private and charter schools. When you see the scale of fine arts participation and understand the expense to operate these programs, you can only find this in a public school setting where the board and the administration fully support these programs with funding, curriculum, and staff. We have a talented fine arts staff of 160 teachers whose entire mission is to educate our students in the arts as a part of a well-rounded education. We are excited about the new Imagine Fine Arts Academies at Blair, Country Place, Kent, and Landry, and look forward to the expanded offerings of theater and dance, as well as all the special ensembles that will emerge from these academies. In CFB, we believe that imagination and creativity are the sparks that inspire deep thought and cognitive development. Fine arts play a significant role in this development, and we are proud that through our programs, our students gain a bigger picture of the world around them and the opportunities available to them as they take their next step on life's journey. This spark can truly be seen in the talent of our students, and so tonight, we're going to deviate from our normal presentation and take this opportunity to do something unique. We are excited that we have choral students from each of our high schools who are joining us to celebrate the gifts that they have developed as a part of our programs. So Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, members of the board, you're welcome to stay right where you are, but if you would like to come down and listen from the front, you're also welcome to do that. Whatever you choose to do will be just fine. But for now, please welcome the singers from our 4 high schools as they come together to perform One Day More from the musical Les Miserables.
One day more, another day, another destiny. This never-ending rose of Calvary. These men who seem to know my crime will surely come a second time. I did not live until today. How can I live when we are parted? One day more. Tomorrow you'll be worlds away.
As our board members returned to the dais, we said no one could speak after that because the students were so amazing. Thank you to our students and to the amazing teachers that help to develop and work with our students on a daily basis.
I guess I just want to say, as you can see, the fine arts in CFB are alive and well. And with the support of, an unwavering support, I might add, of the CFB administration and Board of Trustees, the Fine Arts Department is committed to the district's goal of high achievement for each student and salutes our entire faculty for using their time and talent to shape these leaders of tomorrow. As we conclude this evening, we want to share with you a short video that's been prepared by John Gordon and Kyle Steffel that captures the spirit of our programs and is a video that we'll be able to share with our community for years to come.
With dance, I feel really happy, I feel light, I feel inspired.
Playing music, I get to focus on that for a while and not worry about anything else.
It really inspires creativity. I feel like I'm taken to a whole nother place, a whole nother world.
You get to express yourself and you just express that feeling through what you're saying.
Dr. Burns, we've seen tonight why we choose public, choose CFB. The fine arts are alive and well, and we're so thrilled about the upcoming opportunities with our academies to continue the development of fine arts. That concludes our report.
Board members, do you have any questions or comments you'd like to make at this time? Ms. Valenzuela?
That was powerful. Thank you so much. After the meeting, if they're still around after the closed session, I normally go to karaoke. If they're free, I'd love to join them. But to paraphrase Winston Churchill poorly, this is what we're fighting for. And it is just so wonderful that we still have the arts, and we need to continue to keep them.
Ms. Klein?
I would also note that the people who gave us our blessing tonight, their sons who are so amazing, are also very involved in music. I think it's a good complement and balances the academics.
Mr. Shackman?
Les Mis has always been one of my favorite musicals, and to have that piece that is so inspiring, that talks about overcoming, the whole theme of that musical of overcoming and achieving, and what we're accomplishing in fine arts. Mr. Farr, all of the fine arts staff, we have the opportunity to see amazing things month in and month out from fine arts. My kids have had the opportunity to participate in years gone by, and it's just getting better. Thank you for all you do.
Anybody else? Well, okay, I get to make the last comments. If you know me, as many of you do and have known me for a while, you know that I'm a fine arts aficionado. As 16 years as a high school administrator, you know, part of our job was to evaluate teachers. And I would always beg to do all the fine arts teachers because for me, that was just a treat. I knew they were going to do a good job, so I just sat back and enjoyed what I was seeing in the classroom. I'm not bragging, but I had the lead in the musical my senior year in high school. And if I told you the name of the musical, I promise you nobody in this room would know or have ever heard of it. So I wouldn't even bother. And then when our theater and choir directors found out about it at Creeview, they made me in a cameo role in every musical for 9 years at Creeview, which I dearly loved. I would go to rehearsals with the kids. I was a kid. I loved it. And I'm a proud member of my church choir today. So I love the fine arts. Some of our brightest kids in this entire district are our fine arts kids. So thank you, Brett. As always, it's super. Thank you very much. Our next agenda item is also one of my favorite things. It's the recognition of special guests. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews, members of the board. Well, you know, great performances don't happen without a lot of great coaching and a lot of great teaching. And we know student achievement doesn't happen at high levels without an incredible staff. Very important people doing very incredible work. So this is our, I think, 28th year. I'm close, 28 or 29 years of recognizing those very incredible people with our gratitude and our appreciation for what they do in the classroom, in the on the stage, and on our practice fields and on our game fields. And so, as Mr. Matthews says, this is the second highlight. Student achievement is the first. The second highlight is recognizing those incredible teachers on our campuses. So our VIPs tonight, you have some bags there in front of you. Those are filled with notes and gratitudes, just messages to let you know how much people care about what you do. And we have a saying is that we can't thank you enough, but it doesn't mean we don't try, right? So we're going to extend that gratitude to you tonight and thank you for all that you do. We are going to recognize each one of you as your principal comes up tonight. We're going to invite members of your team and then members in the audience who know you to stand and share this recognition with you. And so achievement is a team sport, but we do want to recognize these very incredible people who make achievement happen. So Mr. Matthews, you join me in the front.
Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, members of the board, friends and family, good evening. My name is Matt Warnock. I am honored to serve as the principal at Barbara Bush Middle School, IB World School. And I'm honored to present to you Miss Natasha Greider as the newest member of the very important profession of teaching. Now, I'll preface this, as I do with many of these. Miss Greider and I are both criers. I am a crier. I don't apologize for it. I just want to warn anybody so it doesn't get weird if I do get a little teary. This is Miss Greider's 4th year as a Bush Bronco, where she serves as our librarian, and so much more. This is her 22nd year as an educator. Prior coming to Bush, she was the librarian at Las Colinas Elementary for 8 years. Yes, we stole her from them, and I'm quite positive that there is a dartboard with a picture of my face on it somewhere in that building. She has 3 wonderful daughters that are all CFB kiddos, 2 graduates of Ranch View, one is at UT and one at Howard, and one sophomore. Jamie is here with us tonight, and they are all awesome. There's an ongoing debate as to who we love more, Miss Grider or her daughters. We're not really sure. We love them all. In preparation for her recognition tonight, I asked the BBMS staff to send me a few thoughts to include. Her peers had the following to say about her. Miss Grider is one of the most positive and upbeat individuals I have ever worked with. She is one team member that I have been able to count on for many years. Miss Grider celebrates the many cultures of our school and intentionally works hard to make our students feel valued. All her passion and dedication makes our library a welcoming and safe place for all, and BBMS wouldn't be the same without her. She loves everyone. She is always willing to help and with a smile, and will do anything she can to help each student reach high achievement. Our students had thoughts to share as well. The following are comments from a few of our Broncos, and there's some mic drop moments in here. So, Miss Grider has helped me overcome fears of reading higher than my grade level. She has suggested and pushed me to read above grade level, and that has helped me improve as a reader. Miss Grider is like a key. You can rely on her to open doors, and sometimes she can unlock a new book for you that changes your whole perspective. Mic drop? Mic drop? Okay. When I didn't even know how to speak English in 3rd grade, Miss Grider always helped me to find books to read in Spanish. I think another mic drop? Mic drop? Okay. Miss Grider helped me in the, okay, here it comes. I'm sorry. Okay. I warned you. I warned you. Miss Grider helped me in 6th grade when I had no friends. She let me come to the library and read during lunch, and she was always so nice to me. She would talk to me about all the books in the library, and even when I did make friends, she would always ask me how my days were, and would always make me feel special and happy. That's a big mic drop. I have had her as a librarian since kindergarten, and all I can say is that she is the sweetest, most friendly person I have ever met. For all of these thoughts and more, we thank you, Miss Grider, for all that you do for the Bronco family. CFB and Barbara Bush Middle School are fortunate that you have chosen us as your professional home. Congratulations on being selected as a member of the very important profession of teaching. Thank you, Miss Grider.
Good evening, Dr. Burns, President Matthews, members of the board. My name is Joe LaPuma, and I have the honor of being the principal at Creekview High School. Thank you for having us here tonight and allowing us to celebrate Creekview's newest member in the very important profession of teaching, Mr. Luke Hayes. Luke is married to Lindsay Hayes, and they have 3 adorable children, William, Emma, and Caleb. When asked about the best part of his day, of course he said, Lindsay, this is a quote, "When I arrive at home to spend quality time with my family." Luke attended Flushing High School in Flushing, Michigan, and attended College of Olivet Nazarene University in Bourbonnais, Illinois, where he majored in elementary education. Mr. Hayes has 12 years of teaching experience, 6 of those years teaching 5th grade at Hinkson Christian Academy in Moscow, Russia. And yes, he does speak Russian. For the past 6 years, Luke has served at Creekview High School, where he teaches students in our math department in Algebra 1 and Pre-AP Geometry. As a math instructional facilitator, Luke and the IF team have been instrumental in developing a monthly professional development session tailored to Creekview's teachers that are new to the building or just beginning their teaching career. Luke is also one of our 5 avid teachers that helps promote and prepare so many of our students for college. A blessing sometimes can be found in places where you least expect it. Luke was a substitute teacher in our district, and when an opportunity and a need for a long-term sub came our way, one of our principal colleagues who you just heard, Mr. Warnock, said, "Joe, I have the man for you," and sent Luke our way. And the rest is history. Thank you, sir. Since Luke's arrival, this man has been inspiring, teaching, influencing, mentoring, and leading our students and so many of our staff members with grace and kindness. Some of our staff members had this to say about Luke. "I am so inspired by your dedication to helping and teaching kids. Every teacher on our campus should look to you as an example." Deb Moss said this, "Oh my gosh, what a godsend you are to the kids at Creekview. I love your heart for students and how you are bold to live out Christ in your life." Luke, you're an absolute force of nature. Your compassion and patience are seemingly endless, and what a powerful example you are setting for all of us. With the privilege and challenge of teaching mostly 9th and 10th graders in algebra and geometry, it is crucial that the algebra and geometry team are on point, that the teams are on point. As part of the algebra team, Luke and his teammates plan together and support one another as a great team does. The algebra scores speak for themselves, but more importantly, the camaraderie, professionalism, and support that each of the teams that Luke is a part of speaks volumes and ultimately benefits our students. Of course, the reason we do what we do is for our students, so we had to include some student voices in here as well. Gigi said, "Tell Mr. Hayes thank you for everything he's done for me. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done without you. He's the best teacher I've ever had, and he's really like a second dad to me." Miko went on, "I love the positive aura that you spread, and your gracious attitude toward everyone is contagious. It is evident that you really care about these kids." That's from an 11th grader. Another student said, "Thanks for inspiring me to be hardworking and to be myself. I'm happy to come to school knowing I am your student." In 2015-16, Luke was a recipient of one of Creekview's prestigious Crimson Honors that's given to our outstanding staff members and students each year. His Crimson Honor Award is known as the Abraham Lincoln Barbara Jordan Crimson Honor for Integrity. And lastly, the book, The Ideal Team Player, Lencioni discusses and defines what it means to be humble, hungry, and smart. Well, Mr. Hayes, the faculty and students that you work with would say that you have these qualities and so many more qualities that make you worthy of this recognition. So on behalf of the Creekview family, we are incredibly blessed to be able to see on a daily basis the spirit of excellence you possess, and would like to welcome you to Creekview's and CFB's very important profession of teaching.
Good evening, President Matthews, Dr. Burns, and members of the school board. My name is Matthew Pruitt. I have the pleasure and privilege of serving as the principal of McCamey Elementary School. I am honored to introduce to you to McCamey Elementary School's newest member of the very important profession of teaching, Mrs. Holly McGuane. Holly joined the CFB family in 1994 as a first grade teacher at Las Colinas Elementary School. She took some time off to raise her children, Alex, who is now a senior at Texas A&M, and Emma and Audrey, who are juniors in high school. Holly joined the McCamey family 8 years ago. She currently serves as our first grade teacher. She is our first grade team leader and GT liaison. She is joined tonight by her husband, Scott, and daughters Emma and Aubrey. I talked to some of Holly's colleagues. They said she spends countless hours collecting items and thinking of ideas to help improve the learning of her students. She is always coming up with creative ways to make teaching and learning fun. She is always willing to share with others and help a teammate. Another colleague said she focuses on what she can do to help other teachers. Even though this is my first year at McCamey, she has been a great help to me. I had the opportunity to speak to some of Holly's students, and oh, a joy. I spoke to one student. He went on and on about how great you were, Mrs. McQuain. If I had an hour, I can tell you all of that, but I don't. One thing he said, he really, really likes the treasure box, but we don't do that anymore, but it's okay. Every time we have birthdays, she gives us these things. You know, those things, Mr. Pruitt? I said, no, what things? Oh, I forgot their names. But you also get this music straw and this free thing that you put on the back of your chair and you get to decorate. Another student said, Mrs. McGuane isn't like other teachers because she does go noodle with us every time. Another student said, even when I mess up on a word, she continues to help me. She teaches me a lot. She expects a lot out of me, and she always fixes our problems. Holly, there was one thing that all of your students said. They all said you are really, 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 really nice. Like a lot. Holly goes above and beyond to help her students be successful. She often stays late perfecting the next day's lessons. I frequently receive texts on the weekend asking if the building is open. She has high expectations of her students while being firm, fair, and consistent. Even when times get difficult, and trust me, there have been some difficult times this year, Holly continues to remain calm and still believes in the potential of her kiddos and her boy, as she calls him. Holly knows that each day is a new day and that some days are harder than others. When our work seems impossible, no matter how long her lists are, she looks into the eyes of her kiddos at home and her kiddos at school and remembers how truly blessed she is. It is my honor and pleasure to recognize Holly McGuane as a member of McCamey's Elementary School, very important profession of teaching.
Good evening, Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, and members of the school board. My name is Sherry Scretch, and I have the privilege of serving as the principal at Ranch View High School. Tonight, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Mark Garza, our newest member of the very important profession of teaching. The tradition at Ranch View High School is that members of the staff nominate and select our recipient for this very important honor. This year, the responses from the faculty flooded my inbox with nominations for Mr. Garza. Our teachers wrote, "He has a relentless positive attitude." Another said, "He never turns down an opportunity to go above and beyond his job duties and is always bringing people up." Another colleague said, "As a special education teacher, Mark works with some of our most dependent students and does so with a lot of energy and ingenuity. He cares about each and every one of his kids, and I'm constantly amazed at the things his students accomplish. He also does one heck of a job managing the baseball team." Mr. Garza emulates everything we stand for at Ranch View and is a perfect representative for our VIP selection. Mark graduated from Bryan Adams High School and Monmouth College in Illinois, where he majored in political science and education. Mark has taught in CFB for 8 years, the first 3 at R.L. Turner High School before coming to Ranch View 5 years ago. Mark currently teaches special education classes, is the head baseball coach, and is also an assistant football coach. Mark comes from a long line of teachers, as his father, mother, sister, aunt, and grandmother all share this vocation. Mark has been married to his wife, Kelsey, for just over a year. Organized, consistent, and rigorous are all words that describe Mark Garza's classroom. Mark is a passionate teacher and coach who always strives to help every student succeed. Mark puts in countless hours before and after school to see that his students have every opportunity to learn. When I asked his students about their favorite assignments in his class, I heard many different answers. Terrell's favorite was when they acted out the history of Jamestown. Justin's favorite was when they recreated what it was like to live in a trench during World War I, complete with the paper balls simulating the firefights. And Abril enjoyed creating her own video game for English. Mark described his favorite lesson this year was when his students learned to code. He remarked that because of that assignment, all of the students have a better understanding of the technology around them, both the benefits and the limitations. Mark is passionate about teaching his students because he sees the excitement about learning that they have every single day. On the baseball diamond, Coach Garza is a competitive spirit who will push any opportunity to win the game. He takes kids, many of whom who have never played baseball before, teaches them the fundamentals, and then watches them soar. The student athletes love and respect Coach Garza as well. Devon said, "I love Coach Garza because he comes to work every single day pumped, and you can't hate that." Kennedy said, "He's just the type of person that you love to be around. He always puts his heart into everything and is a great role model." Chris remarked, "He's the funniest coach. He has a big heart and he loves us like his own." And Joshua said, "He always pushes us to try harder." Above all, Mark Garza is a humble man with great integrity. Because he exemplifies professionalism, character, integrity, strong work ethic, and a love for his job, I am thrilled to welcome Mr. Mark Garza as the newest member of the very important profession of teaching. Congratulations.
Mr. Matthews, that concludes our VIP recognitions for the evening.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. It is my privilege at this time to make a few comments about you people. You know, I've been around here a long time, obviously. We've got some outstanding staff members in this district. We always have had. I just want you four people that were recognized tonight to understand and realize the importance of the honor that has been bestowed upon you. We have 9 or 10 recognitions throughout the school year. They're not all VIP teacher recognition. Some of them are MVP for our auxiliary personnel and so forth. So with over 3,000 staff members, you do the math on that. Less than 1% of our teachers get this recognition. This is huge, folks. And you weren't just picked out of a hat. You were picked to be here because of what you do for our kids by the people who know you better than we know you. So congratulations. We need 100, 500, 1,000 more teachers just like you folks. And our goal of high achievement for each student will be reached every year. Thank you very much. All right, Dr. Burns, district announcements is our next agenda item. What do you have for us tonight?
All right, Mr. Matthews and members of the board, and to our audience, you know, there's nothing like a live performance, right? You had it tonight with the choir. It just, you know, being here in person is the greatest thrill that you can get. Watching it on TV is not. And so reading the district announcements on the website, that just doesn't cut it. So we're going to tell them to you tonight and tell you all the great things happening in CFB. Ms. Brown.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. I would like to give you a quick update and have a few other people who will share some announcements and events happening around the district. Saturday, April 14th is the CFB Teacher Job Fair. We are looking for the best and the brightest teachers. You've heard, saw many examples today, and we're looking for lots of those. It's an invitation-only event at Rancho High School from 9 to noon. Apply online so you can get an invitation. Tell all of your friends and family who want to teach for CFB. Wednesday, April the 18th is the CFBISD 2018 Partner Recognition. We have hundreds of individuals and businesses that we will be honoring for their commitment to CFB at that event. It's at 11:30 a.m. at the Marriott Courtyard in Carrollton. It's a time that we can honor all of the business partners in CFB. Tonight we're going to have several people who are going to come and share things happening around the district. I'm going to first turn it over to Dr. Warnock for a quick update. Dr. Warnock.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. We are really excited to share with the board some additional information about a new transformational partnership in this region through the Dallas County Promise. So we want to give a little information to you and to our audience and to anybody who might be watching from home. The Dallas County Promise is a goal, a partnership between public school districts, the Dallas Community College Foundation, and the Dallas Community College District to transform educational outcomes and equity for Dallas County. And we are thrilled for the opportunity that we have to expand our partnership in the Promise. Right now in Dallas County, and all the data that we're going to show you in this little update is all Dallas County data. So this isn't just CFB data, it includes every school district that is incorporated in Dallas County. And what we see is that our adult college attainment currently in Dallas County is at 37%. So of our adults that live here, 37% of them have a 2 or 4 year college degree. But right now, of the 50,000 jobs that have been posted this past year, 65% of those require a 2 or 4 year diploma. So we see that we have this discrepancy between our degreed personnel that are available to go into these jobs in our county and the jobs that are available. And we see that our county college completion rates are declining. What this data shows us is that for the class of 2010, 6 years after their high school graduation, that 27% of Dallas County graduates had earned a 2 or 4 year degree. And we see that trend line decreasing. We are an economic engine in the DFW Metroplex, and we have the potential to have more and more industry come here, which is great for our economy. But people like Amazon are looking for the workforce that's able to go into highly skilled and technical jobs, which require those 2 and 4 year degrees. When we look at the outcomes for children who are economically disadvantaged, the statistics are even more frightening. For our children who identify in the 8th grade as being on free and reduced lunch in all of Dallas County, 1 in 10 will earn a 2 or 4 year degree 6 years after their graduation. So 90% won't, which limits their access to those kinds of jobs that are going to be middle or higher wage earning jobs. And we believe that we can, as a region, partner to transform and change that. The Dallas County Promise is covering the cost of tuition for an associate's degree for up to 3 years at any Dallas County community college, and a success coach to help children navigate through those first couple of years of college for the Dallas County high school graduates from participating campuses. There are 107 high schools in Dallas County, and right now 31 are in this year's cohort 1 of the Promise, including our early college high school. Next year, the Promise is going to expand to cohort 2 and include 10 more high schools. 2 of those will be in Carrollton-Farmers branch, R.L. Turner High School and Newman-Smith High School, which means for every child that attends Newman-Smith or R.L. Turner High School, they will have tuition-free to a 2 year degree, an associate's degree. Yeah.
So this three-pronged strategy will include tuition-free college for them through the associate's degree at Dallas County Community College, success coaching and mentoring to help them accomplish. There's a lot of gatekeepers and barriers from the forms we fill out to the offices we get directed to. So someone to help kids navigate that that might not have had someone else in their family attend college to help them with that. And then career pathways and an IT system that helps to make our information flow really fluid, that we can do a better job of tracking and monitoring students in real time. Not only is it tuition-free for our 2-year degree, that extends to a 4-year degree through UNT Dallas has said every child in Dallas County that is part of a promised school will have the opportunity to attend UNT Dallas. Additional partnerships, SMU, UT Arlington, Prairie View, Midwestern, TSU, Paul Quinn College, and there are more and more university partners joining all the time, are going to provide a select number of seats for competition, merit, and need-based scholarships for children to earn a 4-year degree after they've completed their associates at Dallas County Community Colleges. There are 3 steps for our students. So the first step is that they have to pledge. They have to pledge to join the Promise. And this is for our students this year only at Brookhaven Early College High School. Next year will be at Turner and Smith. And we're going to keep advocating to expand in Cohort 3 to all of our schools. We're going to keep promoting that as we work with Dallas County schools. We want to keep growing the Promise and the partnership. Second, our students have to apply. They have to apply for the FAFSA, and they have to apply to go to college, and then they have to enroll. So that's the part of the Promise for our students. And then for us as a district, we have to agree that we're going to relentlessly pursue college preparation and outcomes for students, and that starts K-12. And we already have all of that work underway, and we'll just be continuing to improve our systems there. We're really excited about the partnership and wanted to announce that. We'll be doing kickoff pep rallies at all of our middle schools and high schools this May, and then expanding to parent meetings when we return for the 2018-19 school year. So we're really excited and wanted to share that great news with everybody. So.
Thank you, Dr. Warnock. That is exciting news to share. So tell all your friends and neighbors, and we're excited for our schools that'll be in Cohort 2 and looking forward to those who will be in Cohort 3. I'm speaking it now, fingers crossed. So that Cohort 3 will have all of our 5 high schools. Now I'm going to turn it over to Meredith Watson, CFB Council PTA Reflections Chair. She's going to give a Council PTA update.
My name is Meredith Watson, and I serve as this year's Reflection Chair for CFB Council PTA. And I'm here to update you on some of our PTA activities over the recent months. On April 4th and 16th, on April 4th, 16 of our campuses participated in a 15-minute CFB walkathon as part of our focus on healthy lifestyles. As we visited different campuses, everyone was excited about the extra movement and the focus on the importance of being active. So watch for pictures on our social media accounts. The Texas PTA Reflections results are in, and I'm excited to announce that McCoy Elementary's Shivani Sarangam's entry titled Reaching for My Sparkling Dreams is advancing to the National PTA competition in the Intermediate Visual Arts category. Give her a hand of applause. I will be putting pictures up of the artwork that we sent to state, as well as some other PowerPoints of all of our entries that advance to the council level, so be on the lookout for those. In addition to the national PTA recognition, we have the following awards from Texas PTA Reflections: 7 honorable mentions, 4 awards of merit, and 4 awards of excellence. So let's congratulate all of our CFB artists. A few upcoming events that are open to the community. On April 17th at 6:30 p.m. at the Perry Middle School Auditorium, Council PTA will be hosting our PTA Life Member Award ceremony to congratulate those selected for this honor for their dedication to our CFB students. We'll also have a brief Council PTA meeting at this time where we will hold our elections for the Council PTA 2018-2019 school year. Again, this event is open to the community, and we hope to see you all there and help us celebrate these volunteers. As part of our advocacy efforts, CFB Council PTA and the American Association of University Women are hosting a school board candidate forum on April 23rd at 7 p.m. right here in this room. The community is invited to hear from the candidates, and we encourage everyone to attend. Remember to remind your friends and neighbors to vote in the May 5th election. And on May 12th, we will hold officer and chair training for our newly elected local officials. In an effort to be more efficient with our meetings and events, we're combining our May Council PTA meeting, officer training, and a vendor fair. It's on May 12th at the ESDC Building B. The vendor fair runs from 8:30 to noon and is open to the community. The CFB Council PTA meeting will start at 9 a.m. and is also open to the community. PTA training will begin at 9:30 a.m. Registration will open soon for those sessions, so watch for our website and social media for more information. And just as a reminder, we'll host a virtual vendor fair on our website with organizations that commonly do business with our local PTAs. It's a great resource for our local campuses. And then we will continue to share positive stories using our hashtag CFBMattersToMe. And we love seeing all the stories out there. Our April theme is the golden egg. We encourage everyone to share their personal stories on social media platform of their choice, identifying that CFB golden egg, a teacher, a nurse, a counselor, principal, or staff member that has made a difference in the life of your student. Remember to use the hashtag CFBMattersToMe. And as always, thank you for your continued support of our CFB PTAs.
Thank you, Meredith. Sharon Escher with the Association for Gifted and Talented will provide a quick update.
Good evening. My name is Sharon Escher, and now I have to make a correction on my papers, parent, very happy parent in CFB, of CFB. And I'm a current president of CFB AGT, the Carrollton-Farmers Branch Association for the Gifted and Talented. I want to thank the CFBISD's Board of Trustees, Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, and the administration for the wonderful opportunity to speak here tonight, as well as for your outstanding work and commitments to our school districts and community. I would like to invite you tonight to our organization's 40th anniversary, April 20th, 2018, 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the ESDC building, Irving and Texas Room at 1820 Pearl Street in Carrollton. The Carrollton-Farmers Branch Association for the Gifted and Talented is an independent, not-for-profit voluntary organization of parents, educators, and friends of academically gifted and talented students. Established in 1978, we continue to thrive today, providing resources for parents and support all gifted children. CFB AGT advocates for equitable district-wide educational opportunities for students. We initiate and facilitate communication among members, the Board of Trustees, and representatives of CFBISD. AGT's purpose is to ensure and support the district in providing appropriate services for these students at the highest possible level. We achieve these objectives by informing parents, educators, and the community about programs and opportunities through a monthly newsletter and social media. Many of these programs have been launched by CFB AGT, including, for example, cloud computing workshops, Microsoft robotic camps, SENC model parent groups, AMED Media Art and Tech Day, field trips with hand-on experiences such as Farmers Branch Community Garden classes, the Monning Meteorite Gallery in Fort Worth, and the Texas Center for Proton Therapy in Irving. We collaborated with the CFB Advanced Academic Services and Council PTA to provide the groundbreaking program of Transition to High School and other high school options that filled this room in 2017 for standing only. CFB AGT funds student support and educator needs. This occurs through small AGT grants and the Susie Haggard Fund within the CFB Educational Foundation. These grants are available to teachers, counselors, support personnel, students, and their families, as provided in the fund's Memorandum of Understanding with the Foundation. As an example, we supported the Blaylock Polk, formerly Country Place DI team, that has won the first place at the regional and second place at the global competition in Knoxville in 2017. We helped with the establishment of a newly formed Lego team this year in CFB and provided cost and participation at the 2018 TAGT, which is the Texas Association for Gifted and Talented Leadership Conference for teachers and educators here in Plano, Texas. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. I highly appreciate your time and attention and hope to be able to greet and welcome you to our big celebration in April on Friday, April 20th, 2018. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. Alex Segal with the Educational Foundation Board of Directors will now give an update with the CFBISD Educational Foundation. Alex?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today? It's, gotta admit, you're a good-looking group, and this is a time to celebrate with students, teachers, our ultimate volunteers up here, except for Dr. Burns and the staff. By the way, you're still not retiring. We're not letting you do that. You know that. Any case, it's a great night to celebrate a bunch of things. CFBISD Educational Foundation is here to help you, whether you're staff or students, in multiple different ways. And if we could, we're not done with the VIPs. Outside of an update, if I could have Holly McGuane, Natasha Greider, Luke Hayes, and Mark Garza please come to the podium. First off, congratulations as being awarded VIPs. The CFBISD Education Foundation is proud to award you these classroom grants to be used for multiple items. No, not to Puerto Vallarta, and definitely not to other beach attire. However, if we could, hold on, make sure I get this to the right person. All right, Ms. Greider. Oh, Ms. McGuane. Very good. Let's see. Ms. Greider, should bring my glasses next time. Luke Hayes. Cool. By default. Congratulations. 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 One more thing. Could someone take a picture and text that to me? Because if I do that, once again, I'm going to bring my glasses, they'll be all blurry. Any case, as another plug, in last year, we started out with the CFBISD Educational Foundation's first STEM week, and we had 3 companies from the public come in, use their engineers and scientists, help teach your incoming 6th, 7th, and 8th graders what's happening in the real world, and it was a success by all means, all measures. By the way, thank you very much. One more time. Thank you. If you know of an incoming 6th, 7th, or 8th grader that's interested in science, technology, engineering, and math, feel free to go to the CFB Giving website, sign them up. We've got 3 companies, one's returning, but the other 2 are new. It'll be a fantastic opportunity to learn from scientists, engineers, and technicians. And other than that, we're here to serve. If you've got suggestions of how the Educational Foundation can help you as parents, staff, students, or administration, email Jeff Moore. By the way, Jeff Moore is on his way down to Houston because his mom is getting back to her house for the first time since the hurricane. So this is a good time for their family as well, another celebration. So other than that, have a great day, keep up the good work, and while you're probably finished up your meeting, I'll be going to sleep. So good night.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. That concludes our announcements.
Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to remind you that the board encourages comments from citizens of the district and from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak either as an individual or a representative of a group may do so during agenda item number 5, audience for guests. Please submit your request to do so on one of the forms provided on the table just outside the boardroom door. You may place the completed form in the box provided on the same table, or you may present it to Ms. Sharon Scribner over here. When the board addresses agenda item number 5, audience for guests, you will be invited to the podium to speak to the board. Now, I know that most of you would love to stay for the rest of the evening, and we would love to have you. We're fixing to take a 10-minute recess. In case you just have to leave, this would be probably as good a time as any, but you don't have to, and we would like for you to stick around. But we will take a 10-minute recess. We'll be back at 8:22. This meeting of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees is called back to order at 8:25. The next item on the agenda is audience for guests. Before we begin, I will remind you, our audience for guest members, I'll remind our audience for guest members of the board's procedures for handling audience for guests. Anyone who wants to speak during audience for guests must sign in and list the topic they would like to discuss. Each speaker will be allowed to speak once during the audience for guests. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board, and the audience for guests portion of the meeting will be no more than 30 minutes total as dictated by board policy BED local. If during that time the board is not able to hear from everyone who has signed up, those who did not have an opportunity to speak will be invited to speak up at the next audience for guests at the board's next regularly scheduled meeting in May. Because the board wants to hear from as many of you as possible while also keeping the meeting running efficiently, groups of more than 5 who want to present a particular viewpoint on a topic should appoint one person to speak on behalf of their group. Again, that speaker's presentation will be limited to 3 minutes. If you speak during audience for guests, either individually or on behalf of a group, please remember that the board cannot deliberate on any subject that is not included on the agenda for tonight's meeting. And last, we ask that you not discuss students who are not your own child. Specific complaints should be addressed through the district's grievance process, not in audience for guests. District policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy FNG is the avenue for filing parent complaints, and policy GF addresses community member complaints. Grievance forms can be obtained at any campus administration office or in the central administration office. Timekeeper, please start the 30 minutes now. Please also time each speaker for 3 minutes. Speakers, the timekeeper will let you know when you have 1 minute left. Ms. Scrivener, are there any audience for guests this evening? No, sir, there are not. All righty then. But try to remember what I just got through saying. We will now proceed to our next agenda item, which is number 6, consent agenda. The consent agenda is a mechanism that the board uses to approve a number of routine items together with a single vote. In compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the public notice for this meeting includes the list of all consent agenda items, and the board has been provided ample information about these items in advance. Prior to any action taken on the consent agenda, board members may request withdrawal of individual items for clarification or discussion. And before I ask if there are any items to be removed, I need to let y'all know that I had eye surgery 2 days ago in my good eye, so if I miss some words or scramble my sentences, bear with me, I'm using my bad eye. I mean well, this now my good eye. But anyway, okay. Board members, are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda at this time? Ms. Robachik.
I would like to remove item 6D, as in David, approval of engineering as elementary, the Museum of Science, Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay. Any others, board members? If there are no other items to be removed, do I have a motion regarding the consent agenda as amended? Mr. Shackman?
Mr. Matthews, I would make a motion to accept the consent agenda as amended with the exception of item D and the rest as in the consent agenda.
Do I have a second? I have a second from Ms. Valenzuela. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. We will now address the item pulled from consent. Ms. Robachik?
So, thank you. So I saw on the consent agenda that 6D, consider approval of engineering as elementary, and I just had a couple of questions since this program is so new and something different for our district. So I know you have some slides, but let me ask these questions, and that way we'll make sure that it addresses all of them. So I want to better understand how the elements described that are listed as the lessons, I want to better understand how those elements are combined into our state-required elements on a day-to-day, how those are integrated. I want to better understand what a day in the life of a stellar STEM student looks like at CFB. And then the training component. I see there's training included in this, and is that the trainer to where those folks would then train all of our elementary teachers who are participating, or schools that are participating in this program, and whether the implementation of the training and the integration of those elements is consistent across all of our campuses, or does each campus have its own way of implementing those?
Perfect. The curriculum that we have selected after review of several different programs for implementation of engineering at the elementary school. I want to back up a second. At our STEM Academy, as you know, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And in all of our research, that really a STEM is considered when two of those four are interacting at the same time. So if we have the integration of science and math, the integration of engineering and technology, so we want to have components of all four across the board, but we want to be really purposeful in our classroom that we have two or more of the elements that are integrated. So Engineering is Elementary is a program. It's research-based, standards-driven, and there are units of engineering curriculum. One unit takes about 8 to 12 teaching blocks. The way that our STEM academies will be set up, the design, is that we will have, right now our elementaries have a rotation of art, music, and PE. They'll have a rotation of art, music, and STEM. And so every third day will be a STEM block. PE will happen every other day in a 30-minute block so that students will have meet their catch and PE minute requirements every week. And it'll provide extended planning time for teachers. There's some real benefits to the schedule that we've have developed, and it'll provide more frequent physical activity for students as well as the engineering piece. With the models, we're focusing on developing the engineering habits of mind. So that we're going to process and solve problems, solving problems in context, making evidence-based decisions. These are the habits that we develop through that STEM enrichment time period that'll happen every third day. So the design process that students will be working through as they build out projects in the different modules that they're asking, thinking about the criteria, constraints, imagining what solutions may be, planning for solutions, creating those and testing them, and then improving them. So really building that design cycle is a way of thinking for students through the STEM process. When we looked at what students said, we did a lot of research here, and then we also went and visited a campus that had this in Plano ISD that is using the Engineering as Elementary. We visited campuses that were using multiple different curriculum and made the decision that this would be the best. We can just look a few minutes at what the children said.
It was really cool because we haven't done anything like this. It's like it's more like a little hands-on.
Yeah, we're not just on paper and pencil.
Yeah, and we get to really use our imagination and create things.
I think I am an engineer because I learned so much about solar ovens and what happens to the environment.
This lesson has taught me so much, and I couldn't have had more fun.
All right, read it and take it out.
The way that Engineering is Elementary is designed is to ensure that it's accessible to every student. each part of EIE will get at different learners.
Before this, I didn't know that Charlie was a genius about this topic.
I didn't know I could even say that much or learn that much.
What's this? Create. Oh, you're not excited about it? In this class, you may not know, based on the video, that there are actually a number of students who really struggle behaviorally and academically. And they're fully engaged, leading their groups, excited at the opportunities to show what they know.
The lesson maybe helped us communicate and got along better because it was a lot of teamwork.
Yeah, some of us in this classroom don't really hang out that much, but when we work together on projects, we could know more about them and know more about ourselves.
But the fact that this is reaching so many different kids in so many different environments and cultures and communities is really exciting, because I think it brings in opportunity. So it brings in a real life issue. It brings in a sense of accomplishment.
So that gives you kind of a glimpse into the project. So we talked about the solar model. So the module, it goes 8 to 10, 12 of those rotations. So we've planned out what those modules will be, and they'll be included in the rotation. So the training component, it's a 2-day training with EIE. They'll come this summer, and it is training those STEM teachers that will be doing that rotation, in addition to some other staff members. So the training costs include training for 25 staff members. So the principal or assistant principal, an additional teacher, some of our science support team, and then the STEM teacher will all be included in that training. The first day is really learning the modules and all of the equipment, because it's all very hands-on in its design. And then the second day is spent really planning out the implementation. It will be the same at all 5 of the STEM academies, because the curriculum modules roll the same. They have a very similar schedule. That will be universal. The beauty is that we're also going to be able to take some of these concepts and then embed them in our curriculum across the district. So we'll be including STEM type activities for every elementary campus in our curriculum. But they won't have that, they'll have that additional extension at the STEM campus. In addition to the STEM rotation, we're also providing training for the entire staffs at those 5 campuses this summer at Learn More, Achieve More. There'll be 4 half-day sessions that are offered, so teachers can select which one they want to come to, and that's where we look at STEM integration into the content. So we've developed a framework in partnership with a consultant that takes a look at those 4 STEM components, the standards that are currently being taught in the classroom, and then how an additional component may be enmeshed. So, for example, if I was teaching about character analysis in an English class, what are the opportunities that I could inject technology or engineering? Could I have the kids design a tower that demonstrated the character traits and then use technology in some way? So that we build integration of STEM concepts across curriculum, and we're going to be providing training for all of the staffs in that. So we'll have a very focused curriculum, and then also a space for teachers to innovate, to include that based on the needs, interests, and abilities of their students, with our standards guiding the way, but the integration of STEM type thinking across the board. We're able to use Title II funds. We have many different funding sources in the district. So we have our local budgeted funds, and then we also have 4 different title funds, Title I, II, III, IV. And Title II are funds that are granted us from the federal government, and those funds are to be used for professional development. We can also purchase materials with those funds that teachers are being trained in how to use, and so it's a way for us to maximize our federal funding dollars if that is going for increased student achievement, teacher learning and development, and we have to have the training for them to understand how to use the modules. So that's how we're connecting the title funding source.
And So the cost of it for this year, this initial cost, it says we're paying for the curriculum with materials. So then in future years, is it just the incremental cost of another round of materials because we've already got the curriculum? Or is that curriculum going to change, or we don't know, or how is that going to work?
Yeah, we could, we may add some units, or, we may decide to revise some units. The way that we're planning this to make it really manageable for the teacher, if you look and see, Kinder and 1 will do the same units, 2 and 3 will do the same units, 4 and 5 will do the same units. So then the next year, Kinder and 1 will do the next set of units, so that the teacher has 3 preparations instead of 6, and that we can maximize the efficiency of the materials. We should anticipate the same cost again next year. In year 3, we would have a lower cost because we would just be doing only the disposable materials, things that students build that then have to be replaced. So, and we can use our title funding or instructional materials allotment funds that are provided from the state for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Shackman?
Do we have any anticipated outcomes that we anticipate as a result?
Well, absolutely. So we would expect to see some of the tangible outcomes, that we would see increases in our critical thinking, which would impact really all of our standardized testing. We believe that critical thinking is a key thread that runs throughout. So we want to see increased outcomes in our standardized tests. Then we're also going to be looking for some of those intangible outcomes. So students as creators, problem solvers, then some of the soft skills that come with collaboration. As we hear from employers, we know that those 21st century skills, they may be termed, but communication, collaboration, problem solving, critical thinking, we have yet to have an employer come say, I really want my employees to be better standardized test takers, but they really want those critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and we expect to see those outcomes here. We're looking at some core critical thinking rubrics that will allow a uniform measurement that are research-based, that could be uniformly installed, that would look at some of those deeper learning outcomes, and we have some work underway with that.
Great, thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Warnock.
You're welcome.
Before we go on to our next agenda item, I would just like, yes, what? Huh? Yes, of course. Before I was going to say before we went on, we had to take a motion. Do I have a motion? Ms. Klein?
Well, since Ms.
Since
she
Mr.
pulled
Bucket?
the item, I was
Yeah,
going to
I
let her
pulled the
go.
item, thank you. I move that we approve engineering as elementary from the Museum of Science, Boston, Massachusetts, and that's agenda item 6D, as in David.
I'll second that item.
Have a motion by Ms. Robaczyk and a second by Ms. Klein. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Now then, before we move on to the next agenda item, and by the way, I was just, reading what I see here. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize 2 of my fellow candidates for the school board election who are with us tonight. I would like for you all to recognize them for their willingness to run for position on this board. Sitting in the back, Mr. John Black. If you'd stand up, John, so everybody could see you. Thank you very much. And up here, Miss Sally Derrick, right over here. I want to thank both of y'all for running. Our next agenda item is number 7, consider approval of teacher contracts. Dr. Burns, will there be a presentation on this item?
A short little explanatory note regarding teacher contracts and the board's role in that. So I'm going to turn it over to our Chief of Staff, Dr. Coleman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Annually, we bring to you recommendations for contracts. Last month, we brought administrator contracts for recommendations, and tonight we're bringing to you our teacher contracts that are being recommended. So we all know that the most important people in our district are the teachers, and it's my honor to ask you to approve teacher contracts for 1,909 very important members of the profession of teaching. And those names have been provided to you in your board materials.
Okay. Board members, do you have any questions?
I'd like to, if we can, I'd like to request for, with the board's approval, that we separate Barbara Bush Middle School from the rest of those, and I'd like to recuse myself from approving Barbara Bush Middle School.
Okay. Mr. Shackman?
We do the same at Creekview High School.
Okay. Have,
Somebody want to make a motion?
we'll need a motion for that. Ms. Klein?
I would make a motion to approve agenda item 7, teacher contracts minus Barbara Bush Middle School and Creekview High School.
Have a motion from Ms. Klein. Do I have a second? Have a second from Ms. Valenzuela. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, that vote is unanimous. All right.
We need
No,
take
now you
those
need one for
separate-
the other
Take
two.
those as two separate items.
Yeah, we don't do this very often, so I'm a
Yeah,
little
not very often.
rusty on this. Ms. Klein,
I'll make a motion to approve Barbara Bush Middle School teacher contracts and Creekview High School teacher contracts.
have a
Do you
motion.
mind if they're together, or you want
Yeah,
them
they have to be
separate. It'll be,
Okay, so Barbara Bush Middle
Yeah.
School teacher contracts,
it'll be cleaner.
Okay.
I'll let someone
We
else
want
do
to
the
keep
other.
it clean. That's one of our
That's right.
things we do.
In case you got a motion.
Have a motion from Ms. Klein. Do I have a second? Have a second from Mr. Shackman. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? That vote is unanimous with
With-
the recusal
Yes,
of
but make sure Ms. Scribner has their notes correct. That was for the Barbara
Barbara Bush.
Middle School teacher contracts. All board members, you got the vote, and then Ms. Robachik's recusal. Okay,
Okay.
there we go.
Now, do I have a motion? Ms. Valenzuela?
I'll make a motion that we approve the teacher contracts for Creekview High School.
Have a motion from Ms. Valenzuela. Do I have a second? Have a second from Ms. Robachik. All those, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous with the exception of Mr. Shackman, who has a recusal on that. All righty. Agenda item number 8, regarding annual tax increment finance, or TIF, payments will now be addressed. Dr. Burns?
Thank you, Mr. Matthews, and members of the board. As you know, we've had quite a bit of discussion and work on our TIF agreements in the past, and we are getting very, very close to really getting some great projects started with these resources. And I want to compliment Ms. Tillman and David Finley and the business side of it, because they have worked really hard to really put the district's interest in the resources from those TIF to benefit the students of our district. So, Ms. Tillman, tell them about this item.
Yes, as you know, the district currently participates in 3 tax increment finance zones, 2 in Farmers Branch and 1 in Irving. These zones are a special provision found in the Texas Property Tax Code. The zones enable taxing entities to finance improvements and provide for the revitalization of specific geographic areas. Each year, we make payments into these 3 TIF zones, and so we're asking this evening that you authorize an amount not to exceed $29,353,114. The payment will be less than that because right now we're calculating all of the collections, and so we'll make some adjustments, keeping in mind that approximately $19.3 million of that payment will come back to the district to be used specifically for school zone projects that have been improved in the plans. So we received 67% of the Irving payment back. We received 65% of the Farmers Branch number 1 and 30% of the Farmers Branch number 2. We're asking again for you to recommend authorizing payments for these zones.
Okay, board members, this item, agenda item A is marked for action. Is there a motion to be heard? Mr. Shackman?
Glad to do that. I would recommend, make a motion that we accept the provision for the payment not to exceed the amount defined for the tax increment finance payments to the TIF zones defined.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mr. Shackman. Do I have a second? I have a second from Ms. Klein. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Agenda item number 9, regarding construction manager at risk for Landry Elementary School addition and renovations will now be addressed. Dr. Burns?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Matthews. And members of the board, you heard a little bit in the pre-meeting regarding this item, but we'll let Mr. Finley kind of give, again, a brief overview of it and then address any questions you might have.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. Mr. Matthews, board members. We're coming to you tonight with the recommendation for construction manager at risk for Landry Elementary. As you're aware, this project is planned to address the Fine Arts Stellar Academy at that campus. Specifically, the project includes an approximate 15,000 square foot single-story addition that faces Valley Ranch Road, which is the front of the building. It's 6 classrooms and a new gymnasium, and then it will also include the renovations of the existing gymnasium to fine arts spaces. That is actually phase 1 of the project. The second phase of the project is a complete interior renovation of the campus, including all the pieces of the facility assessment that has been addressed. And so it's a complete renovation and new construction project for Landry Elementary. The estimated cost for the project is $17.5 million, and we are recommending Balfour Beatty to be the construction manager at risk for that project.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. Board members, this item is marked for action. Do I have a motion? Ms. Valenzuela?
I move that we approve CSP 18-02-083-0 for construction manager at risk for Landry Elementary School addition and renovations.
Have a motion from Ms. Valenzuela. Do I have a second? Have a second from Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
It says the total cost for construction is not expected to exceed the 17.5, but is limited to the authorized TIF funds project plan. So where are we on that? We're waiting for the amendment, or it went to council, or what's up?
So I just got back from City Council where it was unanimously voted to amend the TIF number 1 to include this portion of the project.
So was it in there before or not? I'm just trying to figure that out.
In the plan, there was a lump sum that addressed several campuses, and so we had utilized all of those funds except for $4.5 million, which was left for Landry. And so that's why we went back to increase that amount specifically for Landry to
Is
this
it
amount.
set to the 17.5, or what is it at?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what it's at now.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, board members? Do I have, we already have a motion, do I have, and we had discussion. All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Agenda item number 10, regarding construction manager at risk for McLaughlin-Strickland Elementary School addition and renovations will now be discussed. Dr. Burns?
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Mr. Finley, you're up again.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. Very similarly, this project addresses a signature stellar program, the STEM program at Strickland, as well as the consolidation effort. The project specifically includes, at this point, 8 classrooms in a 2-story addition with makerspace and some other collaborative spaces and some minor interior renovations. The addition itself will face Webb Chapel, and it will be, as I mentioned earlier, a much cleaner construction job because the renovation piece is much smaller. So we are recommending Kibler Construction as the construction manager at risk for this project.
Board members, agenda item number 10 is marked for action. Is there a motion to be heard? Ms. Rabachi?
I move that we approve agenda item 10, which is the approval of CSP 18-03-231-0 for construction manager at risk for the McLaughlin-Strickland Elementary School additions and renovations.
I have a motion from Ms. Hrbachek. Do I have a second? I have a second, Ms. Valenzuela. Any discussion? Mr. Shackman?
Finley, you say it faces Webb Chapel. Is it actually connected or is it separate from the?
It is connected to the building.
Connected, but
So
it-
the quarters on the first and second floor will connect that.
Ms. Klein, did you have a question?
I know we're using SHW or Stantec that did the original design. I'm just curious who built the original building, if anybody knows that.
I apologize, I didn't hear the question.
Who built the original building?
architect?
Who was the original
Contractor?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
can't remember.
Not the architect, but the contractor?
Yeah, because I
so-
know we're going with the same architect, which makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
I was just curious
Yeah, it's
if
probably
one
on
of
the
these.
plaque.
Yeah, it's on the plaque. We can find that out for you, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious, not any factual need. Thank you.
Any other questions, board members? Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Our next agenda item is number 11, report on continuing education credit earned by members of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees. Texas Education Code, Section 11.159B, was revised by the Texas Legislature in 2017 with the passage of Senate Bill 1566, changing the reporting period from the last board meeting of the calendar year to the board meeting immediately preceding the annual school board election. Documentation to fulfill the revised requirement has been provided in the board book document for this meeting. All board members have exceeded the continuing education credit required for the current reporting period. Ladies and gentlemen, our next agenda item is number 12. Closed meeting is authorized under Texas Government Code, including but not limited to Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, real property, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, security devices, 551.082, school children / district employees / disciplinary matter or complaint, 551.0821, personally identifiable student information, 551.084, investigation. The board will now meet in a closed meeting to deliberate the following matters. Consultation with district legal counsel regarding pending litigation in TEA docket number 140-SE-0218 and deliberations regarding pending litigation in TEA docket number 140-SE-0218. Audience members are welcome to remain in the boardroom as board members recess and move into room 150, the executive conference room, for deliberations. The time is now 9:57. We are back on the record in open session, having returned from closed session. The time is now 9:38. Board members, our next agenda item is number 13, consider and take possible action on TEA docket number 140-SC-0218, and this item is marked for action. Is there a motion to be made at this time? Ms. Klein?
I would like to make a motion that the board approve the mediation agreement reached in TEA docket number 140-SE-0218.
I have a motion from Ms. Klein. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. The board will now move on to agenda item number 14, comments from board members regarding posted agenda items. Board members, do any of you have comments you wish to make at this time? Hearing none, seeing none. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our agenda and we are adjourned at 9:39.